This is Dirk from Subjective Perspective Collective and Visited by Voices Network on the DeadEnd Drive-In, and we are at some filming locations for The Creature from Black Lake.
Welcome to another episode of Dead End Drive-In. I am Flesh Wound Dan, joined by both members of Subjective Perspective Collective. We got Darren. How are you doing, Darren?
Hey, not too bad. Just looking forward to this as always. And yeah, some really weird films coming up. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, we got a good mix tonight. And Dirk, how are you doing, Dirk?
Pretty good, man. We back up in there like swimwear.
We are. And we're talking Sasquatch tonight, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think I look the part for that, so I think it'll be.
Yeah.
It'll be a good time.
Yeah, I mean, digging into doing some research on the Bigfoot films and stuff, man. It's pretty cool. A lot of shit I didn't realize. A lot of shit, but
yes,
some wild
and
shit.
some really wild stuff. And we'll get into just a little bit of history first, and so it all kind of starts. Well, it goes back even further, but like this wave really starts with the 1967 Patterson-Gimlin film, which
right, yeah,
kicked everything off, and I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along. That's probably the most analyzed piece of footage ever. I feel like at this point, all these years later, people are still talking about it. It's amazing. And that kicked off a huge wave of movies that really blew up in 1972. Charles B. Pierce's film, The Legend of Boggy Creek. This grosses well over $20 million, depending where you look. Insanely popular.
Yeah, and I think the budget was only 160,000, so that's insane. Also,
Yes.
I saw the Gimlin. So somebody was it's the author of this book. He was saying that that technically that Gimlin footage is the very first found footage, technically before Cannibal Holocaust. I know Blair Witch always gets the credit, but
Yeah, which is ironic too, because Cannibal Holocaust is such a notable movie, but everybody thinks it started with Blair Witch.
Even though it's just a few seconds of the creature, and it's debatable, I guess, but people try to disregard it, or I don't know.
Is
that different footage to the Patterson footage, then, Dirk?
What do you mean? No, that's the footage I'm talking about.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
I mean, the Patterson-Gimlin tape is heavily debated, and a lot would say been debunked, but that's a hell of a rabbit hole to go down.
It is.
Right, so quickly though, what are your guys' thoughts on it? Like, do you actually think there's a bit of, if it's true, or does it look real to you?
Well, it's kind of hard because when you start digging in and reading stuff about it, like around the world, it's kind of like the UFO phenomenon in a way.
Yeah,
right.
Because all around the world, these creatures have been spotted, or people at least said it. But why would people in Japan be saying that too? It's pretty insane.
It really is. I mean, it's tough because it's a filmmaker that was going out to try and make something, and that would seem to indicate that it's not real. I know the walk of the creature in that, and some would say that's been totally debunked, but also the suit quality too. A lot of people
I listened to a guy.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dan. But on this release here, Night of the Demon, it is loaded with stuff on Bigfoot and the special features.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It's got the special effects guy, and he made suits and costumes, and he's he really believes it. He believes that footage is real. So I was like,
they got, if it's fake, it's one hell of a suit. I mean, again, I'm kind of undecided, but it does seem like it's a lot better quality than they would have access to at that particular moment.
Especially in 67. Yeah.
I don't know. It looks fake to me, but look, kind of like, is that the way of a big? We don't know, obviously, but would a laid back Bigfoot really the way he just walks back? And I'm like, wouldn't he be quicker? Wouldn't he be more, agile, I suppose?
Well, no, we don't know. I mean,
We don't know, yeah, I guess. But to me, it looks like a man in a suit. But
that's a big man. That's a big
yeah.
Big,
but it's
big
hard
dude.
to tell though with the camera, So, but they've actually said, it took a long time, I think, to actually debunk it. So it could be, who knows? But I don't know.
My thing today is I don't think any such creature exists because technology is just too good. There's no way. There's really nowhere that it could exist that somebody wouldn't have captured it on.
Right. Wouldn't we have skeletons as well,
Yeah.
Well, they have found some huge skeletons of these big creature-like people, like all
right.
over it too. So.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway.
Yep, the predate. Oh no, we'll probably have a lot of because it's fun to talk about it, and it definitely ties into this Sasquatch craze. I mean, hey, dinosaurs existed. What are they if not monsters? It doesn't strike me as ridiculous to think that some missing link like that was walking around, and who knows, maybe still in the 60s it could have been. I would say now if it existed it's long gone, but as always, weigh in the comments. We want to hear your thoughts on the Patterson-Gimlin.
I'm undecided too, so but I don't just completely maybe possibly that,
they discover new life in the ocean every other day,
right?
So there's always new species being discovered. It's so who knows, but yes, the Patterson-Gimlin tape kicked off the craze, and Legend of Boggy Creek, one of the most successful movies of all time, considering the budget, became a drive-in legend. And before we get into our first film, which also this company distributed Legend of Boggy Creek, Halco International Pictures was the most notable to capitalize on this. That company kicked off in 1951 when Joy Hawk, the owner of the Joy Theaters chain, teamed up with Ron Ormond and J. Francis White of Consolidated Theaters to basically contract indie film producers to create movies specifically for their theaters. And this included almost the entire run of the Lash LaRue Westerns back in the day. It also, of course, Charles B. Pierce's Legend of Boggy Creek, Winter Hawk, Bootleggers. Those were all big hits. And
did you have you heard about this one though? It's called The Exotic Ones.
Oh yes,
AKA The Monster and the Stripper.
Yes, I think that will probably come up. Yeah, that sort of tying in the burlesque craze.
Yeah. Isn't it like the first one? I thought, from what I was seeing, from 68, maybe.
Yeah. No, that one is kind of must see. And
oh man,
that book I highly recommend that you showed off. I have it somewhere here as well.
Yeah, man. Thanks to this book, man, I kind of dug into it, and there's a lot of great information in here. Cryptid cinema, like it's not just Sasquatch; it's covering huge skewer rats and any
skunk apes.
All kinds.
You'll have to send me the link to that.
All kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen The Legend of Bigfoot? It's like kind of like a pseudo documentary.
Yes.
No, I haven't.
Oh man, that's a fun one. It's not great, obviously, but I think you could get it like back in the day. You could get it for like in a Painland or a dollar store in America type thing. But that's one I'd highly recommend. To give that a watch.
Yeah. It was funny around this time. All of these movies, or most of them, anyways. There was that William Castle showmanship. I remember, Bigfoot, Man or Beast was a documentary from 1972, I believe, and they had a guy in a Bigfoot suit signing autographs in the lobby. I've said
they had the $1 Million Man Lee Majors with Andre the Giant.
Yeah, which
They
was
did
so
so-
popular that
Yeah.
Bigfoot character kept coming back. And
Right.
not if you've seen that episode, there's a little bit of a spin on Bigfoot, which I won't spoil for you. But
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen the images of Andre the Giant in the Bigfoot makeup. I was like, what the shit? Looked like the Incredible
Yeah.
Hulk, kind of, with the eyes.
It was extremely popular. I mean, that was a very popular show, but those Bigfoot episodes that they did were huge, and it carried over into the Bionic Woman as well, I believe. And yeah, I just love this era. Just the gimmicks, the 1970 John Carradine movie Bigfoot. That probably had the funniest gimmick. The film distributor, he had come across a mobile Winnebago that was doing basically it was a mobile Bigfoot museum that was going around Florida, and they claimed anyways to have a real Bigfoot body. And he cut a deal, so this guy traveled to these different theaters that were showing the 1970 Bigfoot.
There's something
a lot of fun.
There's something about Bigfoot in the South, though, in particular.
Yeah.
Like, because I noticed this was probably maybe 10, 12 years ago, maybe longer. I remember there was a couple guys in Georgia. Do you remember that? They claimed they had Bigfoot in a freezer, and they took pictures.
I can remember, yeah.
They debunked that shit. It got debunked. It looked really good, but
you know what? Even if it's fake, it's interesting. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Just over the years, I mean, you can do such a deep dive. There's a whole cryptid community out there, and well, you can tell I'm a big fanboy with this stuff because we haven't even.
I'm just
about our first movie.
I'm dipping my toes in it, but I'm pretty interested in it.
Yeah.
Like, so that author's name is Stephen R. Bissett. Bissett.
Mm-hmm.
And but I was seeing something about in Atlanta. So this is like maybe late 50s. Was this like around the time of Vampira? And there was a host in Atlanta, Georgia, named Bestoink Dooley.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like at what do you call it? It was called the Big Movie Shocker.
Yeah.
And anyway, he got the money funded for the Legend of Blood Mountain, this drive-in movie. So these people were having to have product for their drive-ins. So they were, I mean, that's what I was like learning this. I thought this was perfect for the Dead End Drive-In because people were like trying to get these horror hosts to do these films and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, very cool. And also he was kind of ahead of his time that way. That movie actually, it was Legend of Blood Mountain, and it was like you said, kind of a very comedic Abbott and Costello type thing. And in 1975, I believe, it was edited into the film Blood Beast of Monster Mountain, which was a more serious movie, but still maintained some of that footage. But yeah, shout out to Bestoink Dooley.
Yeah, there was another one though, like it was French, I believe, it's called The Beast. Oh man, I was seeing some shit on that. Like it looks like some bestiality kind of shit going on.
The Beast is Notorious from 75 also. And as wild as this sounds, it's a big thing in the horror literature community, this sort of interspecies erotica. There's a lot of Bigfoot erotica specifically. If you want to laugh, go on Amazon. There's 1,000 books about Bigfoot just mating with human women.
I saw this one title, man. I mean, he can edit it if he wants, but it was called Come for Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck?
It's pretty wild. There's and I'm not kink shaming. If you love that out there, hey, more power to you. But interesting.
They were making the Bigfoot sexy, like what the hell?
They were, and some of it's quite funny. So yeah, there's a whole wonderful, wacky community out there. And one other one I will throw out, and I'm sure we're going to segue back to a lot of this, but Hunter Shea. If you're a cryptid fan, I put him over a lot. He writes some excellent cryptid themed novels. A lot of really fun kind of grindhouse feel B-movie type novels, but he also did one called Creature that's dead serious, and I think just arguably his best book. Creature is amazing by Hunter Shea. So if you're diving into some cryptid literature, also check out Hunter Shea. Okay. But with that being said, we'll kick it off with our first film tonight. As always, our oldest one goes first, and that is The Creature from Black Lake from director Joy Hawk Jr. And in this film, there's a hairy humanoid beast lurking in the Louisiana swamps, but only trapper Joe Canton has seen it and lived to tell the tale. And the other residents of Oil City, Louisiana don't talk about it. But that's not about to stop intrepid grad students Pahu and Reeves, who are determined to track down the Bigfoot-like creature. Defying local sheriff Billy Carter, the duo trek deep into the wilds of Black Lake, and a series of frightening encounters make it clear the monster is no mere legend. All right, so Dirk, you made a special trip down to Oil City where they shot this, and the footage is just absolutely amazing. Not a lot has changed.
I appreciate it, man.
No, it's
the
really,
buildings
really
are
cool.
I mean, it was creepy actually, like going there on a Saturday. I mean, this was last Saturday, so depending on when you're watching this, I don't guess that matters. But we I come into the town, and man, it's dead. There is hardly nothing on downtown. And those buildings were just, man, it was. I mean, you'll see in the video though, like I'm just creeping, driving while I'm filming with my damn camera, on my phone, and shit, man. But it was cool talking to some of the people. I talked to this guy. He said he lived there his whole life. He told me where the barbershop was.
Oh,
He said he knew for a fact that's where the barbershop was. And he said he remembered when he saw this on TV, because that's the first time he saw it was on regular TV. But this did hit the theater. At the drive-ins. It was popular in the drive-ins. It did well as well. Yeah. Not as good as Legend of Bobby Creek.
Yeah.
But he said it scared the shit out of him. He said he would not go outside after watching that film, like, because he knew it was like where he lived and shit. He believed that shit. I mean, it was way more effective back then,
Yeah.
Things that you watched on TV, and I guess when you're a kid and everything, but.
And I mean, again, very, very small town, so everybody at the time would have been aware of this movie. And I actually think there's something, just really nostalgic and wonderful that you didn't just drive down there and see strip malls and Starbucks.
Yeah.
Right.
I
love that, man, because I was expecting to see some of that same, the writing like on the building that you see like in the film where it says, I think it says Oil City. I can't remember what exactly it says. But somebody did murals over it. So, but then I talked to other people that told me where they think that some of it was shot. So I went there too, to Black Lake and everything. But then there was a lot of people that had no idea what I was talking about. They were younger people.
I don't know why someone don't film like up to date, like now, film like, a good horror film from that location, because as you can see in Dirk's footage, it looks eerie, like, quiet, and that would
it is, and there's hardly no traffic.
Be a perfect location, I think,
like,
for some today.
I don't think it would be too hard to
Yeah. So yeah, it'd be easy to film as well. Yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, it wouldn't cost much to, maybe throw a few dollars the locals' way. And speaking of which, this film is made up of a lot of locals from Oil City. You mentioned the barber shop. That was the actual barber that ran that shop, which I think is so cool and really, really adds to this story so much. And
Yeah,
it,
man.
it
No,
it was
no.
a modest success in the
Mhm.
South. You had mentioned it did play theatrically, didn't break out like
Nah.
Legend of Boggy Creek. It did sort of find more of its audience on television, but um, it's. I think what I like about this movie, and I don't know how well it would have fared on 42nd Street because it's not a particularly violent movie. There's
No.
you know
And
nothing,
this is a very early work from the great Dean Cundy, too.
yeah,
Yeah.
So, I
yeah.
mean, you can definitely see, like, I mean, if you pay attention to, because and what I found out from him too is he did all the makeup. He did the makeup for the creature.
Yes, yes.
So I thought that was pretty killer. They made it a conscious effort to keep the creature not seen so much. You know,
Yeah, and I think that was a good thing back then, is especially because if you polar opposite of the other movie that we'll talk about
right?
after
Yeah,
this.
Right.
Uh,
I actually remember though with this one because I watched it again. This is another early one when I was getting back into the genre like 20 years ago. But
mhm.
from watching it this time round, they showed a lot more than I thought they would actually of the creature from what I remembered, you know.
yeah.
Yeah,
But like you say, yeah, it's done. It's not overly done, you know.
I just
It's
love the
the right
like when you
balance.
see
I think.
the arm come through the van window, and he's
Yeah,
grabbing Reeves and battling. I love that shit. I love the what's that guy misaligned eyes? Jack. Is that Jack Elam?
Jack Elam.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Uh,
Uh,
when
yeah,
around his house, you see the creatures like the shadow. I just love all that shit. It's mood, atmosphere. That's what it's really about with this film,
yeah.
and I think
And
it
you
even
you
hits a
need
little
that.
harder for me because I live around here. Like so.
right. Yeah.
It's a little different watching it
There,
when you
there is
start.
some
Yeah,
goofy stuff in there though, with the diner and all
Yeah,
that. You know,
yeah.
maybe could have done without that a little bit, but
right.
yeah, like going back to this one, it kind of surprised me a little bit because I know how much Dirk likes it, and obviously Dan. You know, I've heard Dan talk about this one,
Mhm.
but yeah, it kind of went up a little bit in my estimation, if I'm honest.
So was
Yeah.
this the first? I don't think this is the first movie, right? Like
No, no.
Legend of Boggy Creek, I guess, is the first. Like it's like a docudrama kind of.
Yeah, this was different. I mean, it unlike Boggy Creek, it's not kind of going for that pseudo documentary feel. I think the movie it's uniquely Southern, unique to the region, which I really like about it.
Yeah.
It's character driven, and thank God, like the characters are funny, they're really likable.
Hey.
Our two leads, Dennis Fimple, who a
Yeah.
lot of you may recognize, the oldest college student of all time in a movie, I
Yeah,
think.
man.
Right.
You
Yeah.
noticed
Yeah.
that, right? And that's Grandpa from House of a
Yeah,
Thousand Corpses.
Oh shit!
yeah,
I knew the face, but I didn't put
yeah,
that together. Yeah.
He's like, eat your, the line.
Yeah, you can see exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Grandpa Hugo from House
Yeah,
of a Thousand Corpses,
yeah.
and he died like right after that movie came out. So it's kind of sad he didn't get to enjoy the career resurgence
Oh,
that
he
a
was in
lot
some
of
great.
actors did.
He was in
Yeah,
some great films though, like King Kong, 1976. He
yeah,
played a character named Sunfish in there.
yeah.
Uh,
He was in that Winterhawk, The Evictors, Going
I've never.
South.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've never seen this one. It's Truck Stop Women.
Oh, that's a fun drive-in movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Very, very unique character actor, and his buddy in the film, John David Carson, who's the son of Western legend Kit Carson. He didn't do quite as much, but he was in Empire of the Ants, another personal favorite of mine with Joan Collins. He did The Fifth Floor, Stay Hungry, and he had a small role in Pretty Woman before he called it quits. But basically, a lot of people from this movie died early, sadly. So there's not a lot of people in the. They were already old, or they died
You had
early.
Dub Taylor in there as well. I
Yeah.
love that character in this film. Grandpa Bridges.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
there's people like that around here. I mean, I guess he must have, or he's from South Carolina, I think. So he probably didn't have too hard to adjust to get it down. But there's older people like that, you know. I've seen them.
Western royalty in this movie. Dub Taylor, character actor. I mean, he was in The Wild Bunch, Moonshine
Gang.
Oh yeah, the shakiest gun in the West. He was also in The Getaway. Lots and lots of westerns, though. He was
him and Jack Elam.
Yeah, Jack Elam. He was in a ton of classic westerns. I mean, Once Upon a Time in the West, the Support Your Local Sheriff, and Gunfighter. He was also in one of my favorite.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, man.
Oh, no, that's okay. I was just going to say he was in one of my favorite film noirs, Kansas City Confidential. They don't make character actors like they used to. These guys were awesome.
He's got to be the standout to me of the film, Jack Elam.
I think one complaint, if you're going into this for the first time, it doesn't have a definitive ending. In fact, it almost sets it up for a sequel that obviously we didn't get. And I would have liked that Jack Elam led movie sequel, but unfortunately we never got it. Interesting tidbit on Jack Elam, and this is towards the end of his career, but there was a series, a comedy sitcom called, I believe it was Texas Wheelers, and he was the dad in this sitcom, and he was a single dad of 4 boys, including a pre-Star Wars Mark Hamill and his older brother Gary Busey. So I've never seen this, but
damn,
yeah, I don't know.
That he was in some TV series called The Cockeyed Cowboys of Calico County.
Probably canceled because nobody could say that, I would imagine. That show is just what everybody called it.
I was like, what the hell? Holy shit.
I tell you what I did find with this, that it works well as kind of a proto slasher if you look at it like that. I know it's a Bigfoot, I guess the argument is, Night of the Demon, everyone calls a slasher, which we'll come on to. But it really gave me that kind of proto slasher type feel, vibe all the way through. But again, it plays as just as well,
I did see where Cundy said that he was really proud of this film, though. Out of most of all the drive-in films that he did, he was really, really proud. He said that he was talking about the way when he did the cinematography. I mean, he said it was probably better than a lot of these films deserve, but he didn't feel that way about this film.
Yes. Yeah. And I think a lot of, I should also say this was shot under the title The Living Legend, and they changed it to Creature from Black Lake, as they often do. And I think it's finding a lot of getting a lot of new eyeballs on it, because there was no proper release in widescreen until I think the Synapse release. So I think a lot of people are reevaluating this movie. Again, it's dialogue and character driven. If you're looking... Yeah, if you're looking for Bigfoot tearing people apart, that's not this movie.
No.
But I think there's just a charm to it that I really, really like.
Yeah. I mean, it's one that you could... I mean, it's a little tame compared to a lot of Bigfoot films, but
Yeah.
this wasn't the time for that. Like when we come on
No.
to the other one, that's the time for
Yeah.
that. But, you know, it's more, you could watch this with the family kind of movie, you know, with the kids or
Yeah.
whatever. But I don't know, man. It's just it's shot so damn well, though, man. It's just I don't know. I know I keep going on about that, but I just love the cinematography in this. Which
That's definitely the best part for me. Like
yeah.
just all the views and all that.
I mean, I love all the actors, the characters. I mean,
yeah. And what was it with like flashbacks as well with these Bigfoot films? You always get flashbacks of all these death scenes, which is great. Like, you know.
And the vision, the Bigfoot vision, where it's blurry, but
oh god, yeah, like Bigfoot vision, yeah.
You would always also have kind of that trope of the professor and his students that
on
was
an expedition.
Yeah, that was something that they used a lot.
Because it starts off exactly like Night of the Demon, doesn't it? In story wise, you know.
Oh yeah.
All these guys going out, you know. I suppose that is, you know, in most Bigfoot films, I would imagine they're all going out to, you know, explore and what have you. But yeah, I was like, the first 10 minutes is almost exactly the same. You know,
it makes me want to go to Texarkana now.
Oh yeah, I love location. I love visiting locations.
I mean, with the Legend of Boggy Creek. I mean, Folk, is it Folk, Arkansas? It's not too far for me, you know.
And there's a Town of Dreaded Sundown as well. You could do 2 in 1 type thing if you went. I'm sure you could see some locations for that as well. I'd love to see that, you know, locations for that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think really one of the things that truly sells this film is the chemistry between John David Carson and Dennis Fimple. They felt like real friends. It's you know, the humor for the most part lands. It's a very just good-natured, fun movie. You can watch this with the family. There's nothing
with anybody.
There's nothing too objectionable in here. Another sort of familiar face, although not in the way you're thinking, Catherine Hart, who played the waitress Eve, younger sister of Morgan Fairchild, which you can kind of
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, she didn't have a ton of credits, but she was in Future World, the 1987 slasher Open House. She did the sex comedy, The Seniors, and did appear with her sister Morgan in The Seduction, the erotic thriller that she did in the early 80s.
I like that one, yeah.
And
so Joy, was it Joy Huck?
Joy Huck, yeah.
Senior. He owned a bunch of drive-in theaters, so he funded this to get it made. Like we were talking about earlier about the, you know, trying to pump out products, you know.
Yeah, he was sort of the king at that time, and it's really interesting thinking back to that time, which, you know, I wasn't around for, sadly, but, you know, before multiplexes took everything over, and again, we don't get these fun gimmicks anymore. I mean, for this movie, they put Spanish moss everywhere. They had the trapper boat and everything. Like, some of this is not too difficult to pull off. These giant Regals and AMCs, you know, have a little showmanship. Like I said, that William Castle spirit, put some
instead of some kind of fancy popcorn bucket, right?
Yeah, you know, hey, the popcorn buckets are great. I bought the Dune popcorn bucket. It's pretty unique. But just do something. You got kids there, like, hey, get a photo with Bigfoot on the way out. I'd like to see more of that in the future. Just a side rant, because, you know, we want theaters to survive, and I think they could learn a lot from the Joy Hawks of the world.
So did this have like a wide release in America, or was it just set in the South?
It had a big release in the South, but it never worked its way up. It played in Boston, never made its way up to 42nd Street, which, again, I think is probably good, because I don't think that audience would have gelled with this at the time,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
again, it is very unique to its area, and I think they would have wanted a little bit more blood and guts monster action, but there is something about just the mystery of it. I think that's the great appeal of these movies. I mean, even at the time they were shot, there wasn't as much mystery in the world anymore. You know, things
Right.
were built up. The idea that you could still go on this expedition and potentially run into this wonderful, if not perhaps deadly creature. I think that's just interesting, and I like that spirit's still alive. All the Sasquatch hunter shows out there. I think it's awesome. Even if you don't find anything, it's about the journey more than
That guy
anything.
that I spoke with, it was a ma and pa restaurant,
Mhm.
and him and his wife owned it. And I asked him, I said, "Well, back then, was there rumors, of
Mhm.
Bigfoot or Sasquatch or whatever?" And he said, "Not around here, but in Arkansas."
Yeah.
He like not too far. He was saying definitely was it there. So.
Yeah. I hopefully we'll get to see something someday. You never know.
Right.
Um, but yeah, no, this movie's just a fun little adventure, and everybody is on in this. The one actor we didn't talk about yet, Bill Thurman, who played the sheriff.
Oh shit! Yeah. He plays the sheriff in a lot of films. Plays.
Yeah.
I got
Almost
a little
always.
bit on him.
Yeah. He was a regular for, well, he was a veteran of Southern drive-in fare in general.
He was in Gator Bait.
Yeah.
He was in where by the way, Gator Bait was shot here too in Black Lake Caddo area. He was in where the red fern grows.
Yeah.
So
he was even in not so great movies like Zontar, The Thing from Venus, and Curse of the Swamp Creature.
Yeah, I saw that Curse of the Swamp Creature, 1966.
Yeah. And ironically, there are some connections in the second movie we'll be covering in a little bit as well. But yeah, the highlight of this is just the cast, the chemistry between the two leads. I enjoy it. Again, this might be a little too lighthearted for some of you out there. We've some of the Poliziotteschi films that we've covered are a lot harder.
This is far from that. Yeah.
The softer side of Grindhouse.
You get a little blood, not too much, but you didn't get hardly any in Halloween either. So
no, people forget that. And
mood and atmosphere, folks.
I like the less stereotypical portrayal of the locals in this a lot. This is the era of Deliverance, so you would see less than flattering portrayals of the locals. This doesn't do that at all. Actually, everybody's got their own unique personalities, but I think it's just a wonderful little regional horror movie.
Gotta mention Roy Tatum too. He's the one that dressed up as the creature, and he also played the character Fred in here. But he was Burt Reynolds' stunt double.
Yeah. He was.
He looks damn near like Burt Reynolds, man. I mean, damn near like, just like. But
yeah, he was kind of a dead ringer, and he managed to make a little bit of a career out of that, which I thought was pretty cool. I really, it's a shame that some of these casts are not still around today. Like I said, it is the character actor now. It's not what it used to be. And you mentioned Roy Tatum, his son Chase Tatum, who plays the little kid in this.
That's right.
He grew up to have a brief run in World Championship Wrestling as Master Blaster 2. He turned into a giant of a human being himself and had a brief wrestling run. Another, sadly, who passed away early. This is one of these movies where there's not a lot of people left to talk about it, which is a shame. But I've got my own cryptids running around behind me causing trouble. Yeah. I don't know what cats like boxes. I think she's surfing.
Oh yeah.
So, gentlemen, what say you? What do you rate Creature from Black Lake?
Oh, for me,
Yeah,
I probably got to give it. I just got to give it an 8 out of 10, man. It's. I mean, I don't rate every movie real high, but I mean, just everything about it, man. I could put it on. It's a feel good movie, kind of like comfort kind of movie, man. I can see myself going back to this like all the time, you know.
Yeah.
So this is like the second or third time I've seen it, but I enjoy it every time, man. But I think part of it has to do with because I'm from here too. Might have something to do with it.
Yeah, no, I understand. Darren, how about you? I know you're a long way from Oil City, but
right, yes. So I remember, like I say, watching this a hell of a long time ago, like 15, 20 years ago, and I kind of liked it, but it was really tame. And I remember buying, because I'd still got it somewhere in one of the boxes. I've got like an old DVD. But I did go back and watch the actual, like, you know, the nice print they got of it now. And it's like watching a different film, really. With the cinematography.
Oh, it is.
So it definitely went up a little bit. You know, I'm not a massive type, you know, Bigfoot guy. You know, I've not seen enough of them anyway to have like a really strong opinion. So originally, I think I'd give it a 5 out of 10. I'd up that now to a 6. But I mean, I can see the charm of what Dirk's, you know, obviously Dirk's nostalgic and all that, and I can see myself going back to it as well. But I think it's a solid like 6. Yeah. 8 out of 10.
Awesome.
Nothing wrong.
Well, I am a 7. I really like this movie quite a bit, and I think it will put a smile on your face out there. It as Darren was saying, it's a movie you may have seen, but you kind of need this new Synapse release to see it truly for the first time, because this has not been available in its proper format.
Man, it's amazing. It looks like a 4K. I mean, really does.
Yeah.
Damn Blu-ray looks like a 4K.
And it is on YouTube as well. The actual Blu-ray print is on YouTube. I know you've got to put up with some adverts in the middle, but it looks really good. Yeah.
Well worth it. Good watch for the summer too. So yeah.
And also, I was just going to briefly mention. So the guy that did the one sheet poster art. Damn, I had it. Where's it at? Damn it.
Yeah, he did. I'm spacing on the name, but he did a lot of huge horror films, and not just horror films, really. I mean, he did everything. I think he went on to do
Ralph McQuarrie.
Yeah.
And he worked for George Lucas. And so, you know, that's what Cundy was talking about too. He said a great one sheet of, you know, for the film. It really helped the film. It did better than a lot of the drive-in films. That's what Cundy was saying anyway. But
right, yeah, that image is once you see that image as well, you know,
I think it's I mean, I kind of want that one sheet just because, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't have too many one sheets, but I kind of want that.
I would imagine that'd be rare though, wouldn't it? 76 probably as well, so. not having a wide release, but you never know, you might track one day.
Pretty obscure, you know, for the most part.
Yeah.
It's posters have jumped really high, but sometimes you get lucky. There's some stuff you'd think would be more expensive than it actually is, but yeah. All right, so we'll segue into our next movie, which not so family friendly. This is definitely if Bigfoot is real, I sure as shit hope that this is not the Bigfoot that exists. Not very safe pissing on the side of a road. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
So our next film
Lock up your wives and daughters.
All of them, yes. Because our next film is the 1980 film from director James C. Lawson, Night of the Demon, right there.
Yep.
And if you're unfamiliar, Night of the Demon, amid the gush of early 80s low-budget backwoods horror, only one lost classic brought together softcore sex, hardcore violence, satanic sex cults, and a limb-tearing, gut-slinging, dick-ripping beast for the best and bloodiest Bigfoot movie ever made. When a group of anthropology students head deep into the forest to investigate a series of Sasquatch attacks, they'll discover an immortal brain blast of crazy hermits, mutilated Girl Scouts, interspecies copulation, and one of the goriest final scenes in the whole history of splatter flicks. All right, Night of the Demon. That was a mouthful.
Yeah.
So polar opposite at this
Yeah.
point. This movie, as gory as it is, that's not initially what this really was.
No.
In fact,
So rated PG, right?
it was PG, and the director James Wasson shot a very different movie.
Right. It didn't sell, from what I understand.
Yeah.
It didn't sell because it was too tame.
Yeah.
And then it got Margaret Thatcher's panties all up her crack, you know.
Yeah. Well, I first heard of it on the Video Nasties list. I was lucky enough because I was like, our family was lucky enough to like have one of the early VCRs. So I'm talking like 81. So I saw this back then, and I mean, going into the playground in school, you know, and talking about the dick ripping scene. And all that, you know.
Oddly enough,
iconic, man. Yeah.
But oddly enough, Darren, so what I found out is that this was released in the UK first.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
And then 2 years later in the US, you know. So I was like,
yeah, it really took a while for it to come to the US from Gemstone Entertainment on VHS, but yeah, so it was very different. It tested extremely poor, and producer Jim Ball, he shot a bunch of gore effects, and on the cheap too, which is impressive because he said it did not cost very much at all to add.
Just go get some buckets of pig guts and shit, right?
And some creativity. This has probably one of the more clever kills with the Girl Scouts. Where,
those overage Girl Scouts,
those 30-year-old Girl Scouts. Yeah.
They're retired now and living in Florida. They were very, very old. But yeah, just the way he kind of like bear hugs them and sort of, it's very like non Bigfoot behavior at times. Bigfoot comes off like Jason Voorhees in this movie, and I'm not complaining because I think that adds to
he's
it,
grabbing anything around and hacking you up. He's, you know, ripping your entrails out and slinging them around the room. And
he
shit.
can use an axe. He can use weapons. It's incredible, man.
I mean, the sleeping bag, you know. So there's another film called The Prophecy.
Yeah, great one. Yeah.
It has that similar kill with the sleeping bag, except, you know, it's similar, but of course in Prophecy that's thrown and then it hits a rock and like you see all these feathers come out and shit. In this one, he slings the dude around like a helicopter. Like it's funny.
This one though, right? So you're watching this one and you're 10 minutes in and you're thinking, did it really go there? And then it goes and carries on like really going for it right to that end sequence, which will come on to, I'm sure.
Do you think they were trying to be funny though in this one? Because
it's hilarious. I don't think they were trying.
I mean, I'll laugh my ass off, but like from other people hearing them talk about it, they were like saying how this scared the shit out of people. I was like, okay.
I can see the audience that came up on, you know, Legend of Boggy Creek walking into this and being seriously shocked. and we we kind of like, if we really go back to like the beginnings of the Bigfoot Yeti sort of legend, you kind of go back to the 1920s, which is really kind of the genesis of it,
Okay.
with the Yeti in the Himalayan mountains. And around that same time, really in terms of the literature side of things, it was E.F. Benson and his story, the horror horn, that
Okay.
kicked off
Oh yeah,
kind of
yeah. I
the
did
Bigfoot
see
legend.
seen a little bit
Yeah.
about that. I didn't know. I didn't realize from the 20s. I did see
Yeah.
that the what was it, the first, so like the first movies though were like from the 50s, right? The Abominable Snowman and
You see, like,
the
yeah,
Yeti
you see
films. Yeah,
that boom, particularly for the Bigfoot Yeti
right.
side of things. I mean, it goes really far back, and that Cryptid cinema book talks a little bit about some of the
Yeah,
literature too.
I've just scratched the surface. So like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Oh, it's a wonderful book. Some of the ad slicks in there, some great photos.
oh, it does. There's some good stuff. Yeah.
It's a treat. You can pick it up for about $25, and it's a big book, so it's worth it.
Yeah.
Robert W. Chambers also, his book In Search of the Unknown is a good early example of cryptid cinema, which they also talk about in there. He wrote a short story within that, In Search of the Unknown, called The Harbor Master, which really, that one inspired Creature from the Black Lagoon, and another early example of where sort of these cryptid legends come from. But just back to this movie, I mean,
Yeah.
certainly the goriest Sasquatch film by far. I think maybe even to this day. It's over the top, but I don't think it sacrifices the scares. I think everybody is at the top of their game on this one. I love that, because we're kind of in that satanic boom of films at this time, Devil's Reign, how we always had to tie in a satanic cult. And I think it's pretty cool that this, falls under a few different subgenres, and including the 80s slasher. And I was going to say, like, more Jason Voorhees than Bigfoot, but I think
Yeah.
it really works quite well. And I think
What do you
there's a fan film where Jason fights Bigfoot, I believe, too. So
the
that's out
the weird like you were saying, the weird Moloch cult,
Yeah.
with the statue of Bigfoot, like they're
Yeah.
worshiping this creature, like like what the hell is going on? While this chick's about to get raped, which is
Yeah.
crazy Wanda. And
Yeah.
do you see a parallel between how she's like catatonic though, and like there's a parallel to Night of the Living Dead Barbara, like
Yeah.
catatonic, kind of state.
Just
I don't know.
Barbara took a trip to Louisiana, or no, well, this wasn't Louisiana, but takes a trip to the woods to unwind after that, and
Yeah.
runs to this Bigfoot.
I mean, I would imagine this is the only Bigfoot film where you see Bigfoot with a cum face at the end of the rape scene.
Oh man.
It is,
Yeah, that's
man. I know
that's
it's a
pretty
rape
hardcore.
scene and it's not supposed to be funny, but man, I was
And
laughing my
the
ass off.
dad's blaming his daughter for getting raped,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
and he's just like this piece of shit dad.
It's over the top character.
I mean, he
like,
says,
brilliant.
what does he say? I mean, I wrote the line down. Which one? I think it's the best line in the film, man. Maybe I'm just fucked up or something, but
there's a lot of humor to
Yeah.
this
he
unintentional.
says, you stinking lying whore. And he's whipping her. He says, I'm saving your soul, you ungrateful bitch.
Yeah, brilliant line. Yeah.
And
Oh,
it's funny that you quote that line, because I had a friend from my chiller days who had his voicemail had leave a message, and then he had a clip, "You ungrateful bitch," from this movie, which I always thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, man.
This one's fun. I mean, I think much like the last film, it's not going to appeal to everybody. This is certainly not the Bigfoot movie that you go to for atmosphere
This is a
or
Bigfoot
yeah,
slasher, man. Like
yeah,
like you said, Jason, before he's killing people, impaling people or with pitchforks and
yeah,
axes and smashing people's heads through windows and cutting their necks and burning people's faces and shit. I mean,
yeah.
he's
Oh,
over. It's
I
pretty
meant
over
to
the
ask you
top.
about that one scene with so he
Yeah,
burns that guy's face off, doesn't he, at the
yeah,
end? But
yeah,
Yeah.
then when you see him, like the actual when he burns the face, all the eyes are covered, so he's burnt all his eyes out. But when you
Yeah.
actually see him in the bed, like the continuity is terrible because he's still there
Yeah.
with his eyes and he's
yeah,
telling the story.
yeah.
Yeah, man, crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. His face is kind of obliterated, and I noticed that too.
Yeah.
Of course, that was added later.
But they fucked up, though, if you think about it. They shouldn't have. I mean, we are spoiling this, right? Or,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
fine.
is that okay? Like, I think they fucked up, man. It's like the whole, you're digging into shit you shouldn't be digging into, for one. Two, where they dig up the baby. That's where they fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in his woods anyway, pretty much. But and this was going to be another movie, right? That's why it's called Night of the Demon. It wasn't going to be a Bigfoot movie, from what I saw.
Yeah, I mean, really, it wouldn't take much to sort of flip it so it could just be, any supernatural
It was
kind
gonna
of
be more
slasher.
a satanic cult type film, but they just, I guess, decided to do this. I don't know.
Did they do reshoots with this where they got, they basically did like ramped up the violence and that?
Oh, the gore, yeah.
The producer just, he knew, and he went and he shot all this new stuff. By this point, I mean, going into 1980, I don't know if Creature from Black Lake at that point, that kind of feel wasn't going to work, I think, quite as well at that time. And I mean, I think Creature from Black Lake was certainly a much better movie than the early version of this, I gather. But yeah, I mean, when you really look at it, I don't feel like this would be at the top of the list without the added gruesomeness had they not have shot that. So I think it was a good move. It became the film that it needed to be at the time.
It pissed a lot of people off.
It did. And another one though too does. that it absolutely does. I know a lot of people that
it's out to offend you, and if you can't handle it, just get your ass out of there.
I mean, that's the whole slow motion scene at the end, is like home invasion type thing, when you got all that is just hilarious, man. And I can remember watching this. Obviously, I was young. I was like 11, 12. And of the humor, I could see none of the humor in it.
Yeah.
But now I just watch it for the humor. It's like, it's another Burial Ground to me. It's on that level. Troll 2, maybe. It's on that type level for me.
Yeah, man, it's fun.
It's a comedy, man. I see it. It
really is.
But yeah.
But the gore's there, man, and it's
it's a slasher. It's it's everything. Yeah.
But it does have a that one scene, man, where he's getting it in. It's pretty rough. Like
and that could be the only reason why it was on the Video Nasties list. Surely just for the rape scene, because I can't see how anyone else could be offended apart from that scene.
Well, also, I would think because of all the damn tools, like the regular household tools being used, that was a big deal, right? For the
toolbox murders, I think, suffered as well with
this one's a trip. This is a fun party movie. Everybody knows the biker, played by adult film star Rob Stevens, who gets his dick ripped off. I mean,
man, that's rough.
And the way that's shot too, it's like, surely you saw this giant Bigfoot in time to zip up and run, but I guess not.
I mean, it's so funny.
Unless you just piss with your eyes closed. I mean,
but the Bigfoot just happens. He could have gone for a piss anywhere in the woods. Like, he just happens to be in the bush right behind where he's having a piss. Like, it's
just waiting.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
But at the part where the dad's praying, he's praying and stuff. He says, burst her belly with fire.
Yeah.
That guy is hilarious. He's acting his ass off. I'm not making fun of him by any means, because he is acting his ass off, but a mixture of the ridiculous, the wonderfully ridiculous baby prop for the mutant baby.
God, yeah.
Just the fact where he's just watching this Bigfoot assault happen and he's not really doing anything.
Not doing shit, man. He's shooting at him, kind of. But
yeah. I mean, you gotta cock block the Bigfoot a little faster than that. But
and then he's pissed off at her, you know. Like, okay. Like, whatever, dude.
And you touched upon it earlier, but the exotic ones, which really kind of has the distinction. I believe it was the first American Bigfoot movie. From Ron and June Ormond, who
that's a trip too, because I've seen those people. It was like an old couple, man. I mean, they were like in their, I'd say, late 60s. You know.
Yeah, they would have been pretty old by that point. Yeah, they had. There's a set out called From Hollywood to Heaven that kind of talks about the Ormonds. It's really interesting. That's a whole other story for another show.
People though, you would not expect that shit, because I saw clips of the film, and whoa, it looks kind of like if you ever seen The Beast in Heat, it kind of looks like that shit going on.
I mean, it's a Bigfoot movie starring a rockabilly superstar named Sleepy LaBeef, I believe was his name.
Sleepy LaBeef.
Yeah, Sleepy LaBeef. And it's about a strip club owner who captures, I think they call it the Swamp Thing, from the bayou, and try and make it a part of its their sort of declining strip show burlesque act, and that doesn't work too well because he tears the tits off of the dancers. So a good double feature with this, I would say, though.
I gotta mention the scene with the couple making love. She sees it. I'm sure she sees the Bigfoot in the window, but she carries on having sex regardless, and then obviously gets back to her boyfriend.
Yeah,
it's so
just
funny,
like,
man.
Yeah, because usually they'll be like interrupting it. I guess she was just liking it. She was liking
it and just carrying on, and then when it destroys her boyfriend on top of the actual
and then the whole shit with did y'all get the vibe like he's trying to seduce the female when he scratches the dude on the back? Like
right, yeah.
Like he's the alpha male or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a fun movie. It's a fun. If you haven't seen it, pick up the Blu-ray. If you have friends over for some beers and wings, like it's you'll all laugh your ass off. You'll have a good time. And the horror sequences are very effective. It's just like you said, there is that sort of like, I shouldn't be laughing as hard at this as I am, but it works.
And the cast as well. The cast, the lady who plays Wanda, I thought the girl, she was amazing. She, obviously the father, he was superb as well. So I think, like, I don't know, they kind of got lightning in a bottle. I don't think they were intending for it to be funny, but sometimes it works out that way.
But the acting, it's so bad. It's good acting for the most part.
It is, yeah.
I think this pairs good with like Don't Go in the Woods too, or something like that. I don't
know.
Oh
yeah, exactly.
But
that's a fun double. That's definitely a fun double. So what do you guys rate The Night of the Demon?
Go ahead, Darren. That's your pick.
So I've probably got 2 ratings for this, really. So if I was to rate this as a film, I would probably say it's a 6 out of 10. In terms of entertainment value, it's off the scale. It's like an 11 out of 10. It's superb. But if I had to I'd probably say a 6 out of 10 as a film. But I highly recommend people to just go in it for the entertainment level anyway. So take it what you will, 6 or 10.
Okay. I gotta give this one an 8.5. It's just a lot of fun. You're correct,
Yeah.
not the best made Bigfoot movie technically.
Yeah.
I'm glad they changed the title to Night of the Demon. It was originally Revenge of the Bigfoot, and I think Night of the Demon.
Oh
Yeah.
god, that wouldn't have worked as
Revenge
well.
of the
No.
Yeah.
Bigfoot. Damn, that's awful.
Yeah,
Generic title, yeah.
I think it's so different from these other Bigfoot movies at the time, most of which really are not particularly gruesome. I mean, you have Shriek of the Mutilated, another
Oh god, that's a fun one. But the thing with
yeah.
the title with this, because there's like a monster movie in there, Night of the Demon as well, from
Oh
the
yeah.
50s, I
Yeah.
believe.
Mm-hmm.
Night of the
So
Demon,
Yep.
Curse of the Demon.
yeah,
And
I'm
it's
kind of
kind
surprised
of
they
the
got away
same.
with it.
Mhm.
Ain't it kind of the same premise too? Like they go on an expedition. At least that part of it.
Yeah, some try and stand out. I mean, Shriek of the Mutilated has a different kind of ending.
Oh yeah.
If you've seen it,
Oh, that
If
one's
you've never
fun.
seen
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
if you've never seen it, it's way different.
Yeah.
Ending of
Yeah,
it,
it's really goofy in places as well.
Michael Finley. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Night of the Demon, guys. If you haven't seen it, I think both of these movies tonight are well worthwhile, and I'm glad that
Yeah,
they both
they're
have great Blu-rays
like
now.
we said, they are polar opposite. They're on both ends, different ends of the spectrum of the Bigfoot
Yeah.
filmography, I guess.
You couldn't get
But
it more wider,
I
different.
give
like,
this
really.
one an 8 out of 10, though. Yeah, that's what I give it.
All right.
Yeah.
So we'll probably cover some more Bigfoot movies eventually. We've mentioned a lot tonight, so you may see us cover those down the line. But guys, it's been awesome covering these with you. Be sure to tune in to all of the great content here on the Visited by Voices Network. There's a lot of really cool stuff. Out there. Some great community shows, some wonderful standalone shows, and you should check it all out. And also join us next time on Dead End Drive-In as we're doing our Don't episode. So we'll tune in to find out what those are going to be. There's a lot of them as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So
Yeah, but do check it out.
yes. Yes. Do check it out. Do go in the basement and the house. We want you to do all that stuff you're not supposed to do.
Right.
So on that note, guys, we will see you back here next time for more Dead End Drive-In.
Bye, guys.